For over a decade, Happy Days was the heartbeat of American television. With its nostalgic 1950s setting, lovable characters, and catchy theme song, the show brought families together every week. It made stars out of Henry Winkler as the cool and charming Fonzie, Ron Howard as the clean-cut Richie Cunningham, and a cast of characters who defined an era of wholesome entertainment. But behind the laughter and leather jackets, there came a moment, one single scene, that changed everything. It was the scene that not only marked the beginning of the end but ultimately took Happy Days off the air for good. By the late 1970s, Happy Days had become a cultural phenomenon. Fonzie's catchphrases were everywhere. The jukebox tunes brought back the golden age of rock and roll, and the show dominated TV ratings. But as time went on, the creators began struggling to keep the magic alive. The writers were desperate to find new ways to surprise audiences, to keep the beloved characters relevant. And that's when they came up with one of the most infamous moments in television history, the episode now known as Fonzie Jumps the Shark. In that episode, aired in 1977, Fonzie, wearing his iconic leather jacket, literally jumps over a shark on water skis. It was meant to be thrilling and fun, a sign that the fearless Fonzie could do anything. But instead, it became a symbol of desperation. Fans and critics immediately felt something had changed. The heart and authenticity that once made Happy Days so special seemed replaced by over-the-top stunts that didn't fit the show's tone. That one scene became legendary, not for its excitement, but because it represented the exact moment the show lost touch with what made it great. From then on, the phrase "jumping the shark" entered the cultural vocabulary as a way to describe when a show goes too far and loses its magic. After that episode, Happy Days continued for several more years, but things were never quite the same. Ron Howard soon left to focus on directing, and key cast members began moving on. Ratings slowly declined, and despite attempts to introduce new characters and storylines, the original charm was gone. The show that once celebrated friendship, family, and youthful rebellion now felt forced and repetitive. Behind the scenes, tensions grew as producers tried to recapture the early magic, but even the actors could feel that the end was near. Henry Winkler later admitted that, while the shark jump episode was fun to film, he knew it marked a turning point. It was the beginning of the end, he reflected years later. We all felt it. Something had shifted. For the cast, who had become like a family, watching the show lose its soul was painful. Still, they remained professional and loyal to the fans until the very last episode aired in 1984. In its final years, Happy Days tried to wrap up storylines in a way that honored the show's legacy. The finale gave fans closure. Richie returned home, characters said heartfelt goodbyes, and the spirit of the show was celebrated one last time. But the memory of that infamous shark jump scene lingered. It became the defining symbol of how even the most beloved shows can stumble when they lose sight of what made them special. Looking back now, Happy Days remains one of the most important sitcoms in television history. It launched the careers of stars like Ron Howard and Henry Winkler, inspired multiple spin-offs, Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy, and captured the innocence of a bygone era. But for millions of fans, that single scene, the one that took Happy Days off the air for good, is a bittersweet reminder that even the brightest shows can fade when they try too hard to stay in the spotlight. And yet, decades later, Happy Days still holds a special place in our hearts. Because even though it jumped the shark, it also gave us memories, laughter, and the timeless reminder that, for a while, every day really could be a happy day.